What if you could face anyone or anything trying to intimidate you with unshakable calm and confidence? Intimidation, whether it comes from people, circumstances, or even our own fears, can feel overwhelming. But what if I told you that the key to overcoming it lies within you? The Stoics, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, taught timeless lessons about mastering fear, staying composed under pressure, and reclaiming your power in the face of intimidation. They understood that external forces only have as much control over us as we allow. Their wisdom is just as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is this transformative idea. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This principle reminds us that true strength comes from mastering our inner world, not from controlling others or the environment around us. In this video, we'll explore 3 Stoic principles to help you face intimidation with courage and clarity. You'll learn how to master your inner reactions to stay grounded in challenging moments. Separate fear from reality and see intimidation for what it really is. Respond thoughtfully rather than reacting emotionally, ensuring your actions align with your values. Here's something to reflect on. How often do we give power to those who intimidate us by reacting emotionally? What if you could take that power back, starting today? By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to transform intimidation into an opportunity for growth and resilience. Intimidation isn't just about external threats, it's about how we perceive them. The Stoics teach us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. So if you're ready to reclaim your inner strength and face life's challenges with composure, stay tuned. The journey begins now. The Stoics believed that the foundation of strength lies in mastering your inner world. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This teaching reminds us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we think and respond. Intimidation thrives on triggering emotional reactions. Whether it's an aggressive comment, a threatening situation, or even self-doubt, the goal of intimidation is to destabilize your inner peace. But the Stoics teach us that no one can take your peace unless you allow it. Imagine someone trying to intimidate you with harsh words or an authoritative tone. Your immediate reaction might be fear or anger. But what if you paused and asked yourself, is this worth my emotional energy? By focusing on your inner world, you reclaim your power and prevent others from dictating how you feel. Here's a 3-step Stoic exercise for mastering your inner world. Pause and breathe. When faced with intimidation, take a deep breath. This simple act creates space between the event and your reaction. Detach from the external. Remind yourself that the source of intimidation is external. It has no power over your inner state unless you let it. Choose your response. Ask yourself, what response aligns with my values and keeps me calm? By choosing your response deliberately, you stay in control. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about seeing situations objectively. He said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This teaching is a powerful reminder that your inner dialogue shapes your experience more than the external event itself. Let's consider an example. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone criticizes your ideas in front of others. The intimidation is real, but how you respond determines your experience. Instead of reacting defensively, you could pause, breathe, and calmly explain your perspective. By mastering your inner world, you maintain composure and confidence. Mastering your inner world isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about acknowledging them without letting them control you. Epictetus advised his students to focus on what's within their control, their thoughts, actions, and attitudes. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Another way to strengthen your inner world is through daily reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to ask yourself, how did I respond to challenges today? Did I stay true to my values, or did I let external events control me? What can I do differently tomorrow to remain grounded? The Stoics also used visualization to prepare for intimidating situations. Before a challenging event, imagine staying calm and composed no matter what happens. This practice trains your mind to respond with clarity and strength. Finally, remember that mastering your inner world takes practice. It's not about achieving perfection, but about making steady progress. Each time you choose calm over chaos, you reinforce your inner strength. By mastering your inner world, you make intimidation powerless. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with reason and confidence. This is the foundation of resilience and a hallmark of the Stoic mindset. Fear is one of the most powerful tools of intimidation. Whether it's a fear of failure, rejection, or conflict, intimidation thrives when we allow fear to take control. The Stoics understood this deeply and taught us that fear isn't rooted in reality, it's rooted in our perception of it. Epictetus said, "Men are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." This profound idea reminds us that fear is often a mental projection, not an objective truth. By separating fear from reality, we reclaim the ability to think clearly and respond wisely. Let's take a moment to dissect fear. Imagine you're preparing for a crucial presentation at work. A colleague's intimidating demeanor makes you feel nervous and doubt your abilities. But pause and ask yourself, what's the real threat here? Is it their confidence, or is it your fear of being judged? The situation itself is neutral. It's your interpretation that creates the fear. Here are 3 steps to separate fear from reality, inspired by Stoic philosophy. Identify the fear. Write down what you're afraid of. Be as specific as possible. Question the fear. Ask yourself, is this fear based on facts, or am I imagining the worst-case scenario? Focus on action. Shift your attention from the fear to what you can do. For example, if you're nervous about a presentation, focus on preparing thoroughly rather than worrying about how others might react. The Stoics encouraged us to view fear as a signal, not a dictator. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This means that while we can't eliminate fear entirely, we can choose how much power we give it. Consider another example, a difficult conversation with a superior. The fear of confrontation might make you hesitate, but ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, our fears are exaggerated. The reality is often far less intimidating than the scenarios we create in our minds. Another powerful Stoic practice for handling fear is called negative visualization. Instead of avoiding thoughts of what could go wrong, imagine them intentionally, but from a place of control. Picture yourself navigating the worst-case scenario with strength and grace. This practice helps you prepare emotionally while realizing that even the worst outcomes are manageable. The Stoics also teach us to focus on the present moment. Fear often pulls us into the future, making us worry about things that haven't even happened yet. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." When you stay grounded in the here and now, fear loses much of its power. Here's an analogy to illustrate this principle. Imagine a shadow on the wall. In the dark, the shadow looks massive and terrifying. But when you turn on the light, you see it's just a small object casting a big shadow. Fear works the same way. It often feels larger than life, but when you examine it closely, it shrinks into something manageable. Finally, remember that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is a reminder that the scenarios we fear rarely come to pass, and even when they do, we are stronger than we think. By separating fear from reality, you strip intimidation of its power. Instead of letting fear paralyze you, use it as an opportunity to practice clarity, courage, and action. The more you apply this principle, the more confident and resilient you'll become in the face of life's challenges. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the importance of responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. When faced with intimidation, it's easy to let emotions like fear, anger, or frustration dictate your behavior. But the Stoics remind us that true strength lies in choosing a response that aligns with our values, not our impulses. Epictetus put it simply, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This teaching emphasizes that external events are neutral. It's our reaction that gives them power. Intimidation loses its grip when we respond with reason instead of emotion. Imagine someone trying to intimidate you during a heated argument. A reactive response might involve raising your voice, lashing out, or retreating in fear. While these reactions are natural, they often escalate the situation or make you feel worse afterward. A thoughtful response, on the other hand, involves pausing, assessing the situation, and choosing words or actions that reflect your composure and self-control. Here's how you can practice responding rather than reacting. Pause before acting. When you feel triggered, take a moment to pause. This simple act gives your rational mind a chance to take over. Acknowledge your emotions. Recognize what you're feeling without judgment. For example, you might say to yourself, "I feel angry right now, but I don't have to act on it." Choose an intentional response. Ask yourself, what action will serve me best in this situation? This question shifts your focus from reacting emotionally to responding with purpose. The Stoics often practiced what we now call mindfulness, staying present and observing thoughts without immediately acting on them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you cannot control. By letting go of the need to react, you create space for clarity and deliberate action. Another technique is reframing the intention behind intimidation. Ask yourself, why is this person acting this way? Often, those who intimidate others are driven by insecurity or fear. Recognizing this can help you respond with empathy or neutrality rather than anger or submission. Here's a practical example. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone speaks over you in an attempt to dominate the conversation. A reactive response might be to immediately interrupt them back, escalating the tension. A thoughtful response might be to wait for your turn, calmly state your point, and maintain eye contact to assert confidence. This approach not only preserves your composure, but also earns respect. Stoicism also teaches us to focus on what we can control. If someone's behavior is beyond your influence, let it go. Seneca wrote, "You will cease to fear if you cease to hope." This doesn't mean giving up. It means detaching from outcomes you can't control and focusing on your actions instead. Visualization can help you prepare for situations where you might feel intimidated. Before entering a challenging scenario, take a few moments to visualize yourself responding calmly and confidently. This mental rehearsal trains your mind to stay grounded when the real situation arises. Lastly, remember that responding thoughtfully is a skill that improves with practice. The more you pause, reflect, and choose intentional actions, the more natural it will become. Each moment of composure reinforces your resilience and weakens the power of intimidation. When you respond rather than react, you take control of the situation and of yourself. This doesn't just diffuse the power of intimidation, it also strengthens your confidence and self-respect. The Stoics understood that the greatest battles are fought within, and by mastering your responses, you emerge victorious every time. Intimidation is a part of life, but it doesn't have to control you. By embracing the wisdom of Stoicism, you can face any challenge with courage and clarity. Today, we explored 3 transformative principles to handle intimidation. Master your inner world. Reclaim your power by staying grounded and focusing on what you can control. Separate fear from reality. See intimidation for what it truly is, a projection, not a fact. Respond, don't react. Choose thoughtful, intentional actions that align with your values. The Stoics teach us that the greatest battles are fought within. Intimidation loses its power when you master your mind. It's not about being invincible, it's about being unshakable. As you move forward, I encourage you to apply one of these principles in your daily life. Whether it's pausing before reacting, questioning a fear, or calmly asserting yourself, each step builds resilience and self-confidence. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to like it and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which Stoic principle will you practice first? And don't forget to subscribe for more insights into Stoic philosophy and personal growth. Together, let's continue to strengthen our minds and embrace life's challenges with grace.